Hey guys, what's up? This is Pants Art Dragon, and today I want to be talking about the new item called Runeglaive, which is going to be replacing the Magus enchantment that we currently have. This item is probably going to be live in patch 5.12, so this video will be a feature heads up for you guys. And basically in this video I'm just going to be giving my thoughts about it, how it affects some champions, and maybe how it might change the meta a bit, just like Cinderhulk did. Anyways, with all that being said, let's get started. Okay, so first off, if you already don't know what this item is, it's basically a half-assed Lich Bane for the jungle. And in comparison with Magus, it has 40 less AP and 10% less cooldown reduction. But what you get is 200 mana, a half-assed Lich Bane proc, and mana sustain for the jungle. Now, in general, I do feel that this item is actually better than the Magus enchantment. Just like thinking about gold efficiency, as the stats given with Magus gives about 40 more AP and 10% cooldown reduction, while Runeglaive gives a Sapphire Crystal, a half-assed Lich Bane proc, and Cassidy's W mana regen. So that's worth about 400 gold plus whatever you think the value of the other stats are worth. In my opinion, I will say that it is worth more than 1000 gold altogether, just on a personal feeling, because I do feel like this item is better than the Magus enchantment in general, of course. Okay, so that's it for just talking about the item. Let's talk about how it affects some champions, and also a bit about item builds. Okay, so on Evelyn, I did a bit of math and looked at her AP ratios. So first off, I'm going to do a little comparison with Runeglaive versus Magus and show you kind of the math behind which actually does more damage. So right here, as you can see, her Sheen proc from her Runeglaive is actually doing 85 damage per, proc, and the AP ratio on her Q is giving us 44 magic damage. And on her E, it's giving us 80 damage. Ultimate doesn't count because it has a shitty AP ratio. Now let's just say we had Magus, so we're just going to buy the blasting one and see how much our damage does with our Q and E. And our Q damage is increased by 22, while our E is increased by 40. And let's just say, for instance, for every Spellblade proc you have, you get 2 Qs. So you're basically looking at 85 damage versus 84. So it's not that much damage difference, you do lose like 10% CDR, but of course Runeglaive gives you 200 mana, gives you mana sustain in the jungle, an AoE Sheen proc, which I forgot to mention earlier in this video, so that does mean faster clears just a tiny bit, and the potential to do more damage if you build more AP. So I do feel like it is a pretty good buff on her for sure. Alright, so that's enough for Evelyn. Let's talk about someone like Nidalee. Okay, so I do feel like her early game gets buffed a bit because her ganks will be a bit more stronger. They'll have more burst when she goes into Cougar form and hits you. And her clears are much better because she can give her mid laner the blue buff because now she has mana sustain from the Runeglaive. So no more hogging the blue buff for Nidalee. And also 2v2s are much stronger because she can proc her Spellblade much more with her constant spamming of skills. And I guess you can say faster clears too. The only thing that kind of gets nerfed on her is her poking in the mid game and late game where she's kind of sieging towers and trying to harass her enemies with spears, along with her heals giving a bit less since you don't have that 40 AP, but that's just talking about poking. Of course her all-in is much better because she has the Runeglaive proc, so that's good if the teamfight is going well for her. But mostly in the mid game and late game she will be trying to poke the enemy down, and so she'll just have 40 less AP plus 10% less cooldown reduction, and she probably won't make much use of the Runeglaive proc in the mid game and late game. But the thing is, she can, do a camp, restore some mana, and go back to poking, so that's pretty good. Now in conclusion, I do feel like it buffs her early game and maybe a bit of her late game because she might want to go Lich Bane. But I feel she kind of lacks a bit more mid game because she wants to poke down enemies, so ability power and cooldown reduction is a stat good for that. But say maybe there's a scenario where the teamfight starts and she's just trying to kite back, she now has enhanced auto attack damage with their Runeglaive proc, so that's pretty good too. Now I've only tried it on Nidalee and Evelyn in the PvE, so I do have a general feel for it and I can kind of elaborate my thoughts on other champions. So for some AP junglers that you might play in solo queue, Fizz comes to mind and he's probably going to get a buff with this. Then there's Diana, who gets a buff with this too. Even though she has high AP ratios, she still makes pretty good use of the Runeglaive, and she doesn't have to hog the blue all to herself. She can actually give it to her mid lane finally. And unlike Nidalee, her auto attacks is a part of her combo in teamfights, so that's going to be good for her, and she also keeps building AP and doesn't go tank after. Then there's going to be AP Echo Jungle, but I feel like Tank is more stronger and more meta, it's kind of funny. And then there's junglers like Fiddlesticks who just get fucked. His combo doesn't have an auto attack proc in it, he has to drain enemy to deal his damage. Same thing with Karthus, he gets nerfed too. And basically any champion who can't put an auto attack proc in their spell rotation kind of gets a little nerf in the jungle because, maybe their spell combo doesn't ordinarily have them auto attacking in their spell rotation. but for the majority of the champions who can proc that Runeglaive, they all get a pretty decent buff, especially if they keep building AP. Then they get even more powerful because they don't have to buy Lich Bane anymore. So yeah, it actually screws up some junglers, but for the majority of the junglers, I feel it's better, especially if they start building more AP after. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. I think it's a great item. For some champions, they get buffed, and for other champions, they just get shit on. Hey guys, so thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did enjoy this video, maybe you'll enjoy a video about what to build on Rek'Sai or versus Cinderhulk, and then what top laners to play when you aren't a top lane main. So do check those 2 videos out. I am Passionate Dragon, and I'll see you guys next time.
End up tragic, just attraction, no attachment.